you can see history doesn't always repeat itself by accident. So how do you want to be remembered? I am your host, Devon, and you are listening to another episode of Center of the Sun Podcast. Thank you for listening. What things do you want people to say about you when you die? Well, you better start practicing. You better start figuring that shit out now. That's something you probably never considered because you've never died before. Have you died before? Well, some people do die. And some people come back and they report back and they see similar things. You've never been put inside of a situation that made you recollect all of the times you butted heads with someone or cussed somebody out or made them feel like a piece of crap. It does not matter what you did, but it does matter a whole lot how you make people feel. So how do you want to be remembered? You don't want the world to dance on your grave the moment you take your last breath. Like, are you a Kobe Bryant? Are you a like Adolf Hitler or somebody? You know, like, you should be mindful of your afterlife. You should be mindful of all of the things you learned while you were a slave of your religion. Not only should you be mindful of the afterlife that you will experience, but you should probably be mindful of the afterlives of the people around you, you know, after they bury you. And that's why I think Bernie Sanders will never fucking win, because he's not being mindful of his legacy. He's being very short-sighted about all of this. And Bernie Sanders will not win. We're going to be making America great again for another 4 more years because these motherfuckers don't know how to... history! It's history, though. Bernie Sanders does not have the best chance of becoming the next U.S. president because he opposes the overarching energies of our society. He openly wants to reshape our institutions. And I don't have a particular value judgment that I want to share today about him and his policies and whatever it is, but I do want to share my observations watching politics in the last 10 years. That's how Trump won. Trump won because he tapped into energy that was negative and divisive, like racism. And that kind of energy motivates in equal measure to Obama's hope, because society was tired of the trauma of war at the time. You have to read the room, Bernie Sanders. And the economy is not trash. It's not the best, but it's still not trash. And Hillary lost because even women hate themselves. Even women hate the fuck out of women, and we don't culturally value women as leaders. And it's like so pervasive. It's just anti-blackness is pervasive. Anti-womanness is pervasive among women. But Bernie Sanders will not win because we've been taught since children, we don't like communism, we don't like socialism, and that's all he's pushing. Regardless of the truth, regardless of if we've already adopted the policies, it's the words that matter. It's how you make people feel that matter. It doesn't matter what you do. And there was a dude that died, I guess, on Twitter. And I didn't follow him. Well, I tried to, but I unfollowed him because I didn't like the way he tweeted at people. And then he died, and then everybody had something to say about his tweets. And then I'm just like, this is really fucking awkward. And death is a part of life. So I'm not going to like get hung up on the fact that this person died because like it was inevitable. Everyone dies, especially when you obviously don't take the fucking flu shot. Like when you, oh my God. This podcast is about bridging modern science and ancient wisdom so that we can like unlock our human potential. And sometimes modern science trumps ancient wisdom because we're humans and we learn and we build things and we use tools and we discover new things. And that is our nature. And that's what makes us human. But we should always lean on our understanding of history in the past. But it's not like you have to change. Like, girl, you have to change. But anyway, that's neither here nor there. I work in public health, so my perspective is vastly biased. I mean, I help develop drugs. Like, that's my fucking career. So I am pro medicine. I'm pro chemicals. I'm pro synthetic stuff. But I also am pro using the earth first, leaning upon our ancient wisdom first to kind of check the past and see the patterns, because that's like also our superpower. That's what I believe is our superpower. So how are you doing today? Ooh, I always hit my mic. How are you doing today? Please send me your thoughts. Host at centersun21.com. I apologize for being late. I need time and space to process my thoughts. And there are a lot of things to think about. There are a lot of things. 2020, the energy of 2020 is really motivating me to get my shit together. But it's also kind of scary because things are moving fast. And if you're not paying attention, you will be left literally in the dust. Oh my God. But there was a dude that died on Twitter. And what's weird about death is that multiple people that I have interacted with just kind of drop dead. And it just like kind of brings you back to your own mortality. For instance, like my college roommate in freshman year of college, he just died of a freak accident. I saw that on like CNN or something, you know, like it's just weird. And how do you want to be remembered? What is your legacy going to be? And it got me thinking, like, it just kind of puts you in a perspective, because it's like, it's your responsibility. It's your responsibility to support the greater good. And that's the energy that comes out of me. And that's what we're going to talk about today. Number 9 is like, why is it important to acknowledge history and the fact that it repeats itself? But like, how do you break the cycle? Can you break the cycle? I don't know. I think that's what Bernie Sanders is trying to do. I think that's why people support him, breaking cycles, breaking spells. You know, I fucks with Marianne Williamson in the first place. Like, I don't support nobody. If I do support somebody, I would support Joe Biden because of his experience already being the vice president, being in Congress, doing things that I can see and hear. And, you know, he seems like he would be a good leader. He seems competent. I am most interested in fixing foreign policy. He seems to have the right attitude about like re-engaging our allies. I don't know. And like fixing all the shit that Trump was trying to undo. I don't want to undo the things that Obama. I want the Obama era stuff to stay. That's why I want Joe Biden. That's why I voted for Hillary. That's why I've been in this whole thing. I've always thought that Joe Biden had the best chance against Bernie Sanders because we're not engaging in something new. We're trying to maintain. That is the conservative ideal. And I think that conservatives would choose Joe Biden because they have evidence of his work. Unlike Bernie Sanders, who I still don't know what the fuck he's ever done, but that's fine. I love how all of his surrogates keep telling me what he's done, but I've never seen him do it with my own 2 eyes. And I don't particularly follow Bernie Sanders, but I didn't choose him in 2016 and I don't choose him in 2020 again. Like, it's just not going to happen. And I truly believe, you know, Hillary lost because women hate themselves just as much as men hate women. And and I don't think that it's not true for me. Like, I voted for Hillary. That's fine. I don't particularly have discontent about women. But like, that's how the cookie crumbles. And I don't know what to say. Like, culture, like you have to look at culture. You have to look at culture. Like, and it became the most apparent when Obama was the president. We had a black president and it was like, wait, everybody was like, hold on, we don't support this shit. And then you could just tell, you could just feel it. But since a child, a lot of people have been given that racial sensitivity, thing where we culturally have warmed up to black men being our leader or being a leader. I don't think that's we're not culturally warming up to women. You don't see a lot of women CEOs. You don't see a lot of women governors. You see a lot of black men. You can, based on the trend of the society, you just have to see how it works. And I don't see anybody using the word socialism in a positive way. I've never experienced that in my childhood. I don't know how that's going to play out in the grand scheme of things. I don't think it's even possible. Even if he does become president, I don't think any of his policies will become enacted. I personally am a conspiracy theorist around Bernie Sanders. I always have been, and I truly believe he is from the same stock as all the other corrupt people. He's just hiding it in another form of government that we don't want. But anyway, whatever the people decide, I'm okay with, because at the end of the day, God don't like ugly, and we'll be all right. We don't got to do nothing. So anyway, did you hear about Roger Stone though? That is just so happy. That makes me so happy. Trump is trying to commute the sentences of various corrupt individuals. One of them being the man that I think it was the governor of Illinois tried to sell Obama's Senate seat when Obama became president. Those kind of people are being released from prison early. I never thought he deserved to be in prison for life or anything anyway. But I mean, when you're an individual and you abuse your power like that, you should be prosecuted. And I think Trump is making a statement by not prosecuting or letting these people out early. He's kind of being like, hey guys, don't prosecute me. Or if you do prosecute me, let me off easy. Because I let you off easy. So I think he's setting the stage for his own prosecution. But the one prosecution he can't stop is the prosecution of Roger Stone. Roger Stone is such a fucking asshole. And this is why I know Bernie Sanders won't win, because that spirit of take me as I am on the front is not gonna happen no more. And we're gonna be looking deeper into people's personalities, and we're gonna choose the person who was the most truthful. And the thing about Roger Stone is that he was involved with Nixon. So Roger Stone's energy is from the Nixon era, where he got away with everything just for the simple fact that he was ugly as fuck and got in the right room. Oh, he's so fucking ugly. But he basically was like a staffer for Nixon. And he saw all of this play out in the 60s, and he was there for the whole time. And he got super rich off of it because he learned how to be corrupt and not get caught. Well, fast forward to 2020, and now he's caught. And now he's facing 3 years in prison, 40 months in prison. And right now, he's throwing everything he has at the wall just to see what sticks, because he's trying to avoid prison. And right now, I just saw a headline about him requesting that the judge recuse herself, because after the sentencing, she mentioned that the jurors were, right, because they used integrity when they made this determination, even though Roger Stone was convicted for obstructing a congressional investigation. What the hell? Stone is requesting that the judge step down because of comments regarding the jurors' personal integrity. What a fucking bitch. Roger Stone, I know this is hard to believe, but I need you to accept the reality that you did something wrong, and that now you're being punished for it, just like all the other people in the world that would be punished in the same exact way. You're not special. And just because you have a style and a personality and friends doesn't matter in front of a judge. They don't care. And their job is to uphold whatever laws and whatever institutions that we have. And you decided to be corrupt. So I don't know. And you tampered with witnesses. And you thought it would be a good idea to target them. So I just want to encourage you if you're a friend of Roger Stone, let him know balance is key. That's what number 9 is today. You know, we're going to talk about numerology. We're going to talk about the number 9. We're going to talk about balance, and we're going to talk about, because I am a destiny number 9 and I feel the most. I just feel very qualified to talk about this because it's like my personality. It just like comes out. And the whole Roger Stone thing, him just like being big mad, and Donald Trump unable to do anything about it because he's already, and I don't know if he, and this is where the conspiracy comes out, because it's like, I think Trump doesn't want to let Roger Stone out. I think that's why he commuted like 80 people, because he's like, oops, I commuted too many people. Like, I can't do it, Roger Stone. Like, oh my God, I'm so sorry. Like, I would love to, but you're just going to have to like fight in the court because I can't. Because he's already done too much. But there's something weird going on at the top with these people because they've gotten caught. And I think Trump is just trying to distance himself from the people that actually got caught with all this stuff, because obviously Trump is guilty. But he's unable to help Roger Stone because Trump has done too much. Trump is too loud. Trump tried to employ the Roger Stone formula by being, you know, just unapologetic about his actions. And now you have to overcompensate for your bad behavior. Overcompensating for the bad. And, you know, I encourage you to see what happens. So what does that have to do with anything? There's a contextual energy. These thoughts that people have that they are going to win and lead and change the world, like all of that motivation doesn't just come from somewhere. And history, we know, does not just repeat itself by accident. We've been talking about numerology, and we've been talking about, let me pull up last week's notes because I had a very good explanation about what numerology is. Numerology, you know, to kind of recap, I really believe numerology is the theoretical framework through which you can analyze the psychosocial structure of numbers and how they function. And we know that that's true about numerology because in modern mathematics, we have similar goals for mathematics. Is simply like, what is not a pattern? Like, we know that we have all these patterns, but like, where is it not a pattern? And Indian medicine, the Christian Bible, Islamic traditions, they all have something rooted. All of those ideas are all rooted in global truths about numbers. So numerology, there's a bunch of patterns, and where there's no patterns are in the numbers 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Those 9 numbers, the first 9 numbers of our set, are the only ones without the patterns. Those are where the patterns come from. So we talked about number 1. Ancient people, they regarded number 1 as the sun. The father of the solar system, the house Leo in astrology, all that kind of stuff. Number 2, which is my psychic number, which represents, 2 is the moon. So 2, 1 is like that light, and 2 is kind of that opposite, that balance, that judgment. The black and white of life, the dichotomy of life. And then we think we should go to number 3 next, but that's the gag. It's like, that's where the inversions come, is that we think number 3, which represents, I don't know, I forget what number 3 is. I have to look it up, but we think it's number 3, but it's actually number 9, which is Mars, because Earth is not included. So we have to go based on what the ancient people believed, and they didn't care what that number 3 on our finger, they didn't care about that. They cared about the planets and kind of like the energy, the overarching energy. And when you look at numbers in the terms of like how the ancient people classified them as planets, you get 9 is after 2 because it represents Mars. So number 9. So if I add up the day that I was born on the 11th day of August. If I add up 1 plus 1, I get 2. That's my psychic number. That is the number that just kind of rules. That's kind of like the astrology girl, you know, like that's kind of like, the longitude and latitude. Like this is kind of how it is for your daily life, how you walk through life. But your destiny number is related to your past lives and your past karmas and like all of the energy you've accumulated up until this point. But number 9 is more of a contextual energy, and it represents complete awareness. I love the number 9 because it's my number. It's my destiny number, and no one's a number. Like you're not a thing. Like you're not a number. The numbers are not beings. Like these are ideas. This is the easiest way that we can explain this. And by we, I don't mean me, myself. I just mean like humans in general. It's hard to understand why these patterns exist or these invariants, or why we're able to see invariants in the sea of patterns. But number 9 represents complete awareness. Okay, so just go with me. Okay, if you think, and I try to think of consciousness like an egg, like you're moving from one layer to another, but inside of it is like life. You know, there's all these layers, and then inside is life, but you have to pierce through each layer in order to get out. And number 9 is kind of like that. Is the encapsulation, is the shell. And it represents complete awareness. It represents the encompassing of all knowing kind of things. And I said number 9, I said this in front of my mom the other day. I was like, number 9 is the number of completion. She's like, no, number 7 is the number of completion. It's like, no. Number 7 is the number of Saturn, which is another kind of number, but it's not the number of completion. It's the inverted number of completion. It's the opposite basically. It's the inverse of number 9. And so that's why I'm telling you number 9 is the number of completion, because we've always been told that number 7 is the number of completion. It's the number of God and all that kind of stuff. It is the number that does represent everything about Christianity, but that's the gag. That's where it's inverted. That's where it's not true. That's what they want you to believe. And by they, I mean the Roman Catholic Church. You know, like that's what they want you to believe, because they have their own motivations. And I'm not saying anybody's wrong or right. I don't even know if I'm wrong or right. I'm just saying what feels best for me and what resonates with me. And the number 9, you know, it represents that all is one, you know. It kind of represents the energy. It represents the energy that everything has an intrinsic value. Okay, so at the end of the day, you are a snowflake. You are a special snowflake, and every single person has their own little quirk about them that makes them special. But this is where the number 9 comes in. It is the responsibility of you to care for yourself, and not just like care for yourself like in the context of yourself, but care for yourself so intently as to make sure that you support the whole to the best of your ability in perpetuity, you know, forever. So you mainly see this play out in your body. So think of it, let's like bring it all the way home. Let's bring it all the way in. Let's bring it all the way home. You see this play out in your body. Number 9, ancient people have always corresponded the number 9 with your immune system. Think about that for a second. The fighter cells in your body identify and respond threats to your health. Let's think about it in terms of mythology of the planets. Let's think about it in terms of Mars. Any story you hear about a being coming from Mars or a Martian or anything, even on the show The Expanse on Amazon Prime, it used to be on Sci-Fi. It's one of my favorite shows. Even the Martians are the soldiers of the solar system. They fight, they protect, they're building new worlds, they're trying to understand, you know, they're trying to build peace and all that kind of stuff. They have a lot of pride about themselves. In everyday life, they're very tough on the exterior, but they're very cognizant and very understanding on the inside, because they have this complete awareness and they want to protect it. And they understand their role within society. That is the overarching energy that I'm talking about today. It's not any one thing, any one being. These influences come from, it's like a microcosm. They come from they're a mirror of something bigger. And if you add up all the numbers in your birthday and you get a number 9, you're being influenced. Your whole life path is being influenced by this spirit of responsibility to care for yourself so that it supports, to the best of your ability, the greatest good. So in everyday life, in like everyday arithmetic, the number 9 adds up, is the sum of all the other numbers. So if you add up all the other numbers and then you add those numbers together, you keep adding digits and digits, you get a number 9. Balance is key. You need everything. That's why I'm like Bernie Sanders. Unity. You need unity, not socialism. Like you need true unity, and you're talking about unity in the terms of a political system, but that's not how we resonate with unity. Uniting somebody is more so having the complete awareness about everyone's needs and trying to compromise and find the greatest good. I don't want to like say Bernie Sanders is not going to win, but we're going to get Trump again, because he doesn't understand that. But Trump does. But he's appealing to white people's fears, because there are more white people than anybody. So that's how he's doing it. It's so frustrating. But anyway, am I right? I'm probably wrong. If I'm wrong, tell me. I don't know. Send me your thoughts. host@centersun21.com. Or you can read my blog, dvaughan.org, DVAUGHN. And I want to hear your thoughts. Like, who are you going to vote for? Like, I don't care about voting being private and this and that. I don't care. No one's going to kill you for who you voted for. Like, that's why it's private, but no one's going to kill you for it. So you can tell me. I'm probably going to vote for... I wanted Marianne Williamson to be the president, damn it. So, like, whatever. Like, I'm not ashamed of my psychic president. I want her to get the psychic forces out. That's what I wanted her to do. These psychic forces, these overarching energies, they're not good or bad. You can't have judgment on them. You have to accept them for what they are. Roger Stone, accept your punishment for what it is. You're a bad motherfucker. Literally and figuratively. You're ugly as hell. Your soul is ugly. You always have been. Ew, have you seen pictures of him when he was young? Ew, you look the same, bitch. All these people with like micro penises, they just can't handle it. But anyway, what are your thoughts? Send me your thoughts, because numerology can help you. Has numerology been a part of your life at any point? Send me your thoughts, because history doesn't repeat itself by accident. That's what I want you to remember, and I want you to practice. You need to practice for the afterlife. Okay, what do you want people to say about you when you die? Because it doesn't matter what you did; it's how you make people feel. Okay, well, thank you so much for listening. Have a great day.